We're talking about what's old is new again, right, with The Last Dance. This gentleman's Reno 911 is back. The Comedy Central hit now back with Quibi. And thanks to him and the great crew on The Odd Couple, I got to appear in a guest star cameo on the TV show of my youth, where he plays Felix Unger, obviously the Tony Randall character, and he was spectacular in that role. The very funny Thomas Lennon back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Thomas?
Rich, it is so good to hear your voice, and it was fun to, you and I talk about comedy a lot. We talk about a lot of different stuff. I don't know if you know. I was listening to your show. You know that I'm from Oak Park. I'm from Chicago. I'm from Bulls territory.
I know that. I know.
And I mean, I definitely look in the Lieutenant Dangle outfit and stuff. I know I seem like a real sort of musical theater dandy. But did you know that when the Bulls, when the real, not the real Bulls, when the Bulls were playing,
yes,
I've never missed a televised Bulls game ever. If it was on television, I watched it. And in fact, do you know Ken Marino, one of the other guys from the state?
Of course.
Sure. So we lived in New York, and we were doing the state. And Marino, I think he's a lot like you. He is a dyed-in-the-wool New York Knicks fan.
Mm-hmm.
And if you lived in New York, which I did in the late 80s and through the 90s, I didn't need an ATM machine account because Ken Marino has such a big mouth. And he would always get in my face. Everybody in New York, they hated Chicago, and they hated us so much, and it was always a fluke, and we always got very lucky. And Ken Marino would bet me $100 every Bulls-Knicks game for for the entire 90s.
So,
and it was my only source of income.
So you and Jordan had at least that in common, where you were taking money from people.
Yes. Yes.
Oh
man! See, this is what happens when you start talking with New York people. They got to get you with some kind of.
No, but the Last Dance could be when it's the Knicks, the last laugh. And the thing is, I don't know how much you've been watching this documentary.
I'm in number 4 in, I think, so far.
Excellent. So, so then you saw the first couple where, Jordan in North Carolina does what he does as a freshman, beating Patrick Ewing. And I turned to, my wife, and I turned to my kids, and I'm like, he's been standing in front of Ewing's place forever. I mean, for absolutely ever and ever and ever and ever. And, if you want to talk about people who Jordan prevented from reaching the pinnacle of their profession, and the number of superstar athletes who he did that to were many. Ewing's at the top of the list. There's just no two ways about it.
And definitely, I feel sad for Knicks fans, but also you got to keep in mind, I made almost $2,400 off of this thing. So let's, there is a silver lining to this. But it's really good to hear your voice. Also, I don't know if people know. Go back, you can get it, I'm sure, on any download. Watch Rich Eisen on The Odd Couple.
Hey,
you crushed that show, man.
Thomas, I'm telling you, growing up, again, Thomas Lennon here on the Rich Eisen Show, and we will talk about Reno 911 in a second, because I was talking about this the other day, the episode of Felix Unger and Oscar Madison having Howard Cosell on and Monday Night Football and all that. That's my youth. You know what I mean? Like, that is it. So when I got a phone call, because Matthew Perry put me in Go On, another an NBC show, I'm like, I'm in to do The Odd Couple. And it was amazing just to see your rendition of Felix Unger was spot on, brother.
Well,
just amazing.
I got to say, you really blew me away, especially because when I heard you were coming in, I was like, God, not that guy. Really? Oh, man. Really? I'm gonna have to. I got to deal with this. This guy, like a real guy, and he's gonna be like a macho blowhard.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah. That's me.
And we've been very casually friends ever since. And I say that in the biggest air quotes I could possibly.
Well, you haven't taken money from me like you did Ken Marino. Let's put it that way, since that's obviously a metric.
God, Jordan would come in, and even the best thing that would happen is Jordan would come into the Garden, and you'd hear, "Hey, guess what? Jordan's sick." And then all of a sudden, the New York people would be like, "Ken Marino," and I'm going to do Sorry, Ken Marino's from Long Island. She'll be like, "We're gonna get, oh yeah, Starks is gonna get him, at Sting, and we go, oh yeah." So Ken will get excited, and I'll be like, "Yeah, cool, man. So yeah, Jordan's sick. That's fine. So
well,
let's see what happens.
If
you want to double it, yeah."
If you haven't caught up and it's sitting on your DVR, one of the episodes from this past weekend is the 1993 Eastern Conference Final between the Knicks and the Bulls, where the Bulls are going for their three-peat, and the Knicks.
That's not the double nickel in the Garden.
It is. No. It is. The Charles Smith still hasn't made the bunny basket underneath. He's still. I think he's now 0 for 3,050 right now, attempting it still.
Wow.
And if the tears of a Knicks fan is actually nectar for you. The shots of the stunned Knicks fans that they had in this documentary mimicked my look on my couch this past weekend. As a matter of fact.
It brings back a lot of emotions, doesn't it? I know it's a really heavy thing to see.
But Jordan, I mean, look, you're a Chicago guy. I got Thomas Lennon here. So Jordan is number one, right? Or am I missing somebody from your Cubs fandom or Bears or anything like that?
No. Jordan's the only thing. I actually have a set. My dad worked at the Art Institute of Chicago, and he used to have to kind of move paintings if they were on loan. And he went to Russia, and he ended up getting me one of my most prized possessions. I have a set of Russian nesting dolls of the Bulls, of the Bulls team, the great Bulls lineup. So it's amazing.
Can you walk me through the order of the nesting?
Yeah.
Can you walk me through?
I got them right here.
Okay.
Okay, Jordan.
Yep.
Pippen.
Yep.
Rodman.
Yep.
Come on. White dude with the short blonde hair. Come on.
Kerr? Is it Kerr?
Kerr.
Okay.
And then weirdly, the littlest guy is the biggest guy, Luke.
Luke Longley's the little.
Yeah.
It's the little.
He's the littlest guy. He's the little dinky guy at the end. Yeah. But these were painted on some like Russian street corner. Excuse me. I guess this would have been. Is this the USSR? I don't know.
Sure.
But anyway, whenever, yeah.
No, I think it's post-Gorbachev. I really do think it is.
Post, probably, yeah, because it's got to be, yeah. But still one of my prized possessions. I also used to have, this is what kills me.
Yes.
I used to have the Dennis Rodman Bad As I Want to Be doll. Do you remember when they made the Dennis Rodman doll?
So, the Bad As I Want to Be doll.
It was Dennis Rodman. It was right when the book came out, and here's what it came with. It came with the 91 jersey.
Yes.
The white Bulls uniform.
Yes.
The red on white.
Yes.
But then it also came with silver moon boots. You could change his hair from like regular sort of tight little hairstyle to pink or green. And then it came with like weird like Dennis's either on the court or Dennis's out in the club. And I'd kept that in the box untouched since the 90s. Untouched. And my wife, God bless her, you love her, Millie from Bull Durham, you remember my wife,
Yes.
So, God bless her. One day, our son is little, and she's like, and I look around the room, and I'm like, what are those little tiny silver moon boots doing here in the playroom?
No! Oh.
And she's like, we opened up that that doll that you never opened up. I'm like, you didn't do that. Hey, wait, you know what? I strike what I said. You couldn't just change Dennis's hair; his entire head would swap. So
it's suitable for children. It's suitable for children.
It's so suitable for children. He had one head had like pink hair or maybe green hair and the glasses, and the other was like normal Dennis head. And my wife, I have no idea. I'm going to eBay it right after we hang up, just to Google what one in the box would have been worth.
Well, 55. Hey, Thomas, $55 on eBay right now.
We've looked it up.
Oh, that's not even that. Oh,
yeah,
not that bad.
Yeah, not that bad.
Yeah. Not that bad. You know what? I'm still going to yell at her just to make it feel bad.
I found one for 68.
Oh, see? I mean,
it's going up.
There we go.
It's a pen. You can make a buck.
Yeah, you can make it happen.
I don't know. I think the Luke Longley nest egg doll might be worth more, Thomas. I'm going to be honest with you.
I remember Chicago got really, real mad at Luke Longley because in the offseason, he hurt himself boogie boarding. Everybody remember that?
Oh, yes. The Luke Longley. But this is great.
Oh, man. By the way, if you had a band called Luke Longley Boogie Board Incident, I'm not that anybody would care, but you'd probably sell out at least a couple venues in Chicago.
Oh, absolutely.
Good fantasy, man.
Oh, my God. I'm laughing so hard.
He had a boogie boarding accident, and he came back, and he couldn't play at all, and everybody just wanted to kill him.
Thomas Lennon here on the Rich Eisen Show. Now, you back with Reno 911 on Quibi, which is congratulations, and thank you for bringing back the show. My God. You once did throw out a first pitch in Wrigley Field dressed in the full-on short shorts and everything, right, of Lieutenant Dangle, correct? You did that.
Yes. Now, was that an intense idea? Yeah, it was. There was a sort of a happy coincidence, which is WGN, the hometown channel and the Cubs channel.
Yes.
They syndicated Reno 911. So that's when Cubs management said, "Hey, would you want to come throw out a pitch in the Dangle short shorts?"
Synergy. It's synergy. Yeah.
It was just synergy. And I got to say, it was a night game at Wrigley, which was cool. As a kid, I'd never been to it. There was no such thing as a night game at Wrigley when I was a kid for a long time. And, night game at Wrigley, sold out, threw the pitch a little bit high, because I've been warned, Cubs management said, if you don't throw it high, you are going to be a jinx and everybody's going to hate you.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was a little bit high. And then the catcher threw the ball to me, but it sounded good. It was right over the plate. The crowd goes crazy. I ran over to my dad. Catcher throws me the ball. I throw the ball to my dad. I'm going to start crying, and my dad says, a little bit high. And if you ever wonder why your pal Tom is like a little bit crazy, that's probably part of why.
That's it. It's just above the letters, Thomas. Your dad said just never above the letters. But by the way,
above the letters. What are you doing, kid?
That is good, but you got a good advice, because if you threw from the mound, normally you're going to dirt it because you're going to throw it down. Yeah. So to aim high is probably you did the right thing. The question is, too, also, how do you throw a pitch in those shorts? That had to be snug, to say the least.
It didn't feel great. It really didn't feel great.
You didn't go full wind-up in those shorts, right? Just for.
Of course I did. I think you can certainly find images of it, but I did my best full, like, crazy Tim Robbins, Bull Durham.
I love
it. But it certainly didn't feel good. I don't know, Rich. I'm sure you've thrown out some pitches, right?
I have thrown one at Dodger Stadium, and it was one of the most nerve-wracking things I have ever done, ever.
It is. It's so distressing. It's almost hard to explain. Did you shred your arm the day before practicing?
Well, actually, what I did is I did get to sneak on Jackie Robinson Stadium on the campus of UCLA to take some warm-ups. Damn straight I did that. My wife was like, you better practice, because, if you don't perform well on a first pitch, it's on YouTube forever. Like, your children will have it forever. Like, we just lost him right there. That's the problem, by the way. We'll get him back in a second. Yeah. If you dirt something, like, remember Akbar Baja Bianilla?
It was terrible.
50 Cent? Did Britney Spears dirt one or something like
Mariah
that?
Mariah Carey. The mayor of Cincinnati.
Yes, you can go down. Carl Lewis. That was the national anthem.
And the first pitch.
50 Cent. Did I say him?
Yeah. Oh, if you botch a first pitch,
it's over.
It lives forever.
It's over.
Lives forever.
And my first pitch, here's how long ago it was. What year was it? My first pitch.
I think it was 13.
Right. The backup catcher caught my first pitch. Because, again, you're not going to have a,
right.
Unless you're certainly here in Los Angeles. If you're not Tony Danza, you're not getting a starter, right?
Right.
And the backup catcher, though, at the time was Kenley Jansen.
I was there.
Soon to be converted into all-star closer. So I would like to say I converted him.
Baba Booey has one of the worst ones, too.
Exactly. So what I did was I practiced, but I did go to the top of the mound, right? And I took my time, and I would have, if I'm not mistaken, hit. Is Thomas back?
I'm back, you guys. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm tap dancing by telling my story of how when I threw out a first pitch, it was off-speed stuff. I would have hit a right-handed hitter, but the left-handed hitter would have swung over the moving pitch. My off-speed movement is kind of like a screwball in a way.
You would have hit, but certainly not killed, just badly injured.
Exactly. Hey, before, now that you're back on, I do want to talk quickly or what you wish to say about Reno 911. How did this come back together? You got the whole band back together. You got Patton Oswalt also making an appearance. It's just amazing what you've done here for Quibi.
Weird Al shows up this season.
Awesome.
We got Tim Allen came in and played the guy who's training Lieutenant Dangle to go to Space Force. There's some cool stuff happens in this season. So, it was interesting. We'd always talked about, people always, bug us about, not bug us, I mean, God bless. People are always like, hey, that was the best thing. Go, do more of those,
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit like when you're a band and people are like, hey, play the hits. I don't want to hear your new stuff. Play the hits.
Right.
So,
right.
So, Reno 911 for us is like, playing the greatest hits. I will say, the new Quibi format, which is, just, so people don't know, some folks are confused. It's a strange name. I tend to agree. But that said, the service is actually pretty neat. So, hey, Rich, am I still talking to you?
You are. I got you, Thomas. No,
cool. I got dropped before.
That's all good.
You can watch it on your phone, and as of today, there's like 4 Reno 911s, but I think sort of the new Zen kind of perfect part of them is that they're about 6.5 to 7 minutes long. And I don't think you will miss anything. If you liked the old show and all the idiocy that we were doing, these are all the ingredients are exactly the same. It's just slightly, maybe a little more condensed and a little more intense.
And it premiered yesterday on Quibi. 3 episodes premiered yesterday. All new episodes launching weekdays in the app.
Yep.
And everyone should go check that out. And then your new released Ronan Boyle in the Swamp of Certain Death, the second book in your 3-book series, New York Times bestseller, the first of which was a bestseller. Congrats on that, too, brother.
Thanks. I'll tell you this, Rich. It's one of those things. I thought about like, oh man, I'm writing a children's book. This will be neat. It's like it's like a fun children's novel. You can enjoy it as a grown up. You can enjoy it as a kid. If you like funny stuff, you'll like the Ronan Boyle books. But maybe it's because of growing up with a dad who was like, hey, that pitch was a little bit high.
Yes.
But the day that you make the New York Times bestseller list, they called me and they're like, hey, you made the New York Times bestseller list. And I can just tell you that felt good ready for this long. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
1,000, 2 1,000, and we're done.
What happened?
I don't know. It's just because you're a grown-up. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Thomas, you are a funny man. Congrats on the return of Reno 911. Come back anytime. Let's have you on, brother. Anytime. It's so much fun.
You're one of my favorite people to talk to.
Right back at you.
And Bulls forever and ever and ever.
So what's our new fantasy team name? Is it Luke Longley Boogie Board Incident, or is it Luke Longley Nest Egg Center piece? What is it?
Good. I'm going to go with Luke Longley's Boogie Board. Just kind of short.
That's good. We know what the avatar will be. Thanks for calling, Thomas. You take care, brother.
Rich, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
You got it. At Thomas Lennon on Twitter. Check it out. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.